Alrighty, today is April 7th, 2025. I want to start out with this roughly 30-second clip from Fox just this morning about the tariffs. And do not fail to see how true this is, but of course the shit behind the scenes.
A new opinion piece on Fox titled, "Here's What Trump is Really Up to with the High-Stakes Tariff Gambit." It explains what is actually in play here is a high-stakes effort to build up leverage and resources to manage America's debt, reset its industrial base, and renegotiate its standing in the global order. There are serious risks here, but make no mistake, this is not improvisation. It is disruption by design. Whether one agrees with it or not, this is one of the most ambitious fiscal and industrial resets in a generation, Brian.
That is so true, but that's put out to us, the people, and especially if you're a Republican and you're a Trumpster and MAGA, or even if you're a Democrat and want to believe in the shit Trump's doing, this is largely legit. And like I've said, this Trump tariffs, obviously, we're seeing right now the biggest corporate takeover of this country ever. And remember all those wonderful videos people were putting out and all these channels were recycling years back on how the United States is actually a corporation? Well, there you go. And again, this is just further proof that the two different agendas behind the left and the right. But anyway, this is. They are trying to save the country, but if you understand what we all mean by country is them. And we're as we all know, we're the serfs, we're the slaves, we're down here to do all this other shit. So the top, what is it, fucking 1% or 5% can control shit and have the money and all that. Well, that's obvious in everything we see, but people got to understand, even though it doesn't make things better, that, again, I'm going to tell you, I can't prove it 100%. The top part of the agenda with all this money is to rescue and save and preserve Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And for all those people that think they want to get rid of that and they would just end it, no, because there's 100 million people, I took a screenshot. I think it's 90 million or 70 million getting various forms of Social Security. That does not count Medicare. Does that not count Medicaid? But if you cut them people off, they're all going to go homeless and be on the streets, and then you will have chaos in this country. That's not going to happen. Again, this is most important for all this shit that ever comes out by the mainstream media, whitehouse.gov, or any fucking channel website out there. If what they're going to do would create mass chaos in this country, and I mean the Civil War shit, all these channels have been preaching about for fucking ever, if what they're going to do would result in that, they're not going to do it in this country. Again, number one, they say they're going to do it. Your Truther channel says they're going to do it. If it would cause this country to fall apart, create mass chaos, it will not happen. All these years, again, the promised Civil War, the promised FEMA camps for various reasons, promised gun confiscation. I wrote some fucking shit down over here. The smart cities, martial law. None of this has ever happened because so much of this is by design for distraction on all, because our community, our so-called Truther community of patriots, we're one of the smallest percentages of this country, so they don't give a flying fuck about us, but they do at the same time. And I'm going to show you now from Richie's latest video, this AI robot stuff. I mean, this is for every channel that does it, everybody because so many of them do the same things, and people so much believe this shit, even though I'm going to show you again from Richie from Boston's own video, the double face, he shows two different things and he won't admit it. But let me pause here and we'll move on. First off, here he's showing a Rockefeller clip talking about the fossil fuel hoax. Of course, fossil fuels are real. They're not really fossils, but of course they fake supply and demand. But let's see what we have to say here.
Cents a gallon here and 90 cents a gallon there, but let's get a world price. That's their goal.
And I would have to say they achieved it. Because I'm not just running that clip because somebody posted that.
Yeah, you are.
When I was down in Texas and Oklahoma, I talked to a bunch of roughnecks. Now, because they didn't want to lose their jobs, I couldn't get anybody on camera. But it should stand to reason that you understand that.
I was in Texas and Oklahoma. I did all these interviews with these oil roughnecks. Bull fucking shit. Oh, none of them wanted to be on camera. They're afraid they might lose their jobs. Well, what are they going to tell you? They're not really pumping oil out of the ground. They're going to tell you they're not really fossil fuels from dinosaurs. Richie from Bot lies so much. A couple of videos ago when I didn't do the clip, he talked about all these states I go visit. As soon as I leave, there's a tornado, there's a hurricane, there's a fire like in California. Well, then apparently you're in the agenda and maybe you're the fucking spotter. And he lies about being in these places for starters. I guarantee you this is true because when Richie goes somewhere, he's doing a video from his GoPro. He's taking pictures with his Nikon camera. I'm sure he makes a cut off of every Nikon camera that gets sold. But anyway, that's just truth. That's fact. Oh, he was the hero. Remember, he was a hero. He went down to the Mexican border during the mass immigration thing, illegals coming over under Biden. But remember, Richie went down there after it had stopped because Richie's own videos, he's out there by himself on his bicycle. Well, let's move on. Let's get to I love this robot shit, so let's pause here. As I go to my next clip, here he is selling his gold pitch, but let's move on. Okay, here he's going to show a woman from Fox. I believe her name is Judge Janine, talking about 401ks.
Hectic. I've shown you all the facts. I really don't know what else there is to possibly say.
By the way, that's after his gold pitch. So I'm showing you the facts, so buy my gold.
Delivering. And you know what? I don't really care about my 401k today. You know what? Not that I can afford it. Not that it isn't important. Not that I'm not at a point in my life when I should be worried about my 401k, because I am. But this is what I believe. I believe in this man. And I believe that what we're seeing...
Blah, blah, blah. See, we keep hearing on the news, whether it's CNN, Fox, or any other pundit, maybe they're just not fucking thinking about it, or anyway, we keep hearing all this shit that pensions and retirement accounts are going down as a side effect of the tariffs. We all know full well when all this shit was being planned since Trump was last in office, they know all these benefits are going to go down. What does that do? It saves all those money behind Trump, even more money. That's just fact. I mean, that should be obvious to everybody, but let's move on. I'm not going to play it, but here he's showing this. World's richest billionaire has lost $200 billion in a single day after the tariff started. Richie from Boston calls that utter bullshit. I guarantee you they lost massive amounts of money, but they know they're going to get that money back. Look, these are all investors. They're all corporate. They have money invested in all this shit that's getting tariffed and shit that's not getting tariffed. They could have easily lost $200 billion, but they're billionaires and trillionaires. You think they're not going to recoup? They know. I mean, give me a break. But that article, I'm going to say, is legit. But let's pause here. Okay, here he's ending that. I don't know, that lady from Fox. Here's the end of that. Then he goes into the robots. And this is where Richie spoofs himself, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Okay, but I'm not worried about my 401k. It's utter, complete, and total insanity. And speaking of insanity, this is insane.
And speaking of that, but no, he doesn't script his videos, i.e. plan what he's going to say like anybody else does when they do a video, but let's go. And happens to have the screenshots and videos handy.
And I warned you about this as well. So here we go.
Oh, and Richie, like all these other, I'm the one that warned you. It wasn't already in the news. Somebody else didn't say nothing. I did. Read the comments from his sheep on Richie's channel, or when I get him on my channel. Oh, Richie told us, Richie's saving. You know, we get it, but let's go. I just love this robot shit. Okay, I got to skip forward. We get this wonderful mixed Terminator music, putting a mask on that thing, one of the real life ones that got out nowadays. But let me pause and skip forward, or else this will be like 5 minutes on this part. Okay, here's after finally getting the mask on and all the spooky Terminator music.
So I find it comical that they show that, because they're showing it in a robot that's sitting in a chair. It can't move. The back of its head's open. So it looks like, look at this, but it's not that threatening whatsoever at all. Well, let me show you some.
Okay, he's going to show us something else. Okay, that robot's not supposed to be that threat. Well, they want to show us how advanced they are. They need to show them walking around because, of course, this is bullshit. People, Go fucking research, watch whole videos. Look, you can tell what's CGI and what's real because the real ones can't do all the shit they think they but this is for sales. This is for These companies are trying to sell this shit. Companies are trying to get government contracts and so on and so forth. But let's go on and see. Come on, Richie's going to expose himself here let's go.
Robots that every single solitary day in AI and robotics. It's a new, never before. Watch this. This is a trick.
If that were true, that the channels want us to believe this, the government, these companies want us to believe that, then these robots would be all over the place. We'd never know it, and there would be real clones or real. Biden would got a new brain or a chip in his head, so he would have been fucked up. But let's go.
Trick. Pay attention to the name of this company that's making this robot.
Oh, fuck the
Westwood.
name. Oh, my God, it's
familiar?
called Westwood.
Does it sound like something you've heard before?
I came back.
You know, if I could stay right here with you, I would.
I got to skip up past this sales pitch shit for the company. Okay, let's hear what Westwood has to say about their robot.
By the desires of the people who pay to visit your world.
Westwood just unveiled a humanoid robot that can run at 10 kilometers per hour, balance on rough
Okay, let's see it. Don't just talk about it. And Richie backs it up.
terrain and react 1,000 times per second. Meanwhile, 1X is showing off a robot that loads dishwashers, picks up leaves, and places pillows completely on its own.
Okay, they show us a little clip for their commercial, for their advertising. Again, they got to get these government contracts. We get to see that thing standing there with the one hand putting a cup in a dishwasher, and that doesn't even, people can see this better on their laptops than I can on my phone and computers, but, Richie will speak for himself, but let's go.
Its own. These aren't just flashy demos. This is the next phase of robotics, and it's moving
Well, that one's obviously CGI, but let's go. Let's keep going.
fast. Let's start with Westwood Robotics' Themis V2. This thing stands.
Now, that's the thing talking. I suppose Richie would say that's real too, even though obviously that's also CGI. Then they want to show us an advanced robot. Well, let's see a real one. Even see, this is cartoon image shit.
It's around 5 feet 3 inches tall, so picture a life-size robot that's pretty close to your height if you're of average stature. One major headline feature is its 40 degrees of freedom.
Okay, pause here and move on. It gets better. Okay, a tad further, same company, same commercial, Westwood. Look how these robots are showing up. This is their sales pitch. This is their advertisement. Oh.
Effectors bump that number up by 7 for finer movements. It's a second-generation model, so Westwood clearly built upon their first iteration to make it more fluid and capable.
That thing's not moving on its own. It had a cable on the... Come on, stop. It's always the same bullshit. Well, show us. Come on, show us you're trying to sell these things. You get it, but let's move on. There's more. Oh, should have get going, because this next clip actually looks real from the robot.
It's a second-generation model, so Westwood clearly built upon their first iteration to make it more fluid and capable. One reason it's become so fluid is that they upgraded the arms, giving them better articulation, so the robot...
Look how that thing's walking. It's got the arm straight out holding a box, and look at those little... Why is it baby steps? Why can't it walk like in the animation, the CGI images? But let's go on. Okay, Richie from Boston showing the same advertisement from that same company called Westward, whatever. Let's go.
I don't want to, whatever. At any rate.
Accidentally bumps you? It doesn't feel like it.
Look how fantastic that CGI image is. But let's see what Richie has to say here. You can tell his hands look real, but that's obviously a CGI. Let's go.
Being whacked by a car door. It's more controlled with enough...
This is not CGI.
It's not
I already
CGI.
double-checked before I showed it to you, okay?
Feel like getting whacked by a car door. It's more controlled with enough...
This is not CGI. I already double-checked before I showed it to you, okay?
That's not CGI. Richie from Boston, well, how did you double check it? Let's see your verification method. But let's go on, because it goes, the commercial goes back to something. Okay, same commercial. This clip's about 15, 20 seconds. I have to show it because they're talking about their own robots, and they repeat something. Watch.
stuff is the robot's AI computing capability, which apparently cranks out around 200 pops. That's tera operations per second.
Well, if it's really creating that many tops, the robot can't handle it. But let's go on and see. Their own advertisement, and Richie's backing it up.
Plainer language, that's a ton of computing horsepower. Because of this serious processing ability, the robot can run advanced machine learning algorithms right on board, letting it respond more quickly to changes in its environment. Speaking of changes in the environment, it also has a neat little gadget for balance and motion tracking.
Okay, we go from him, not Richie, Rich, anyway, from this company showing this robot. This one looks like it's real. They do the CGI image of the other one doing karate. If they really have that, why are they showing this stupid lame ass thing can barely walk, and if you walked up and probably touched it might fucking topple over? Look at the stupid propaganda shit that these companies show in their own advertisements, in their own sales pitches, and the exact same things come from the government. It's bullshit. They do not, there is not the brain power might be there for a computer chip. They cannot get these things to do nothing and never will get anything to do these things like Terminator. Or maybe they would. No, they probably do, but they go that slow. What if that thing had a fucking rifle in its hand, was going full auto, or even would it fucking tip over? I mean, they just fucking cancel themselves out in their own advertisement. But let's pause here. Okay, now here he's going to address this swarm robot stuff.
Products like we've never seen before. We're not going to be fighting other people. We're going to be swarmed by these death bots. Remember 10 years ago when I showed you swarm bots and they never uploaded another video? 10 years.
They showed us swarm bots never upload another video. You can go see them. They use them for fireworks displays every year now. These programmable road up there doing fireworks displays, looking like a flag, a rose. And if these were true, why aren't they using them? Of course they're using them and they're not telling us. They're using them on China, Russia, Al-Qaeda, Afghanistan, or whatever. Give me a fucking... stop it. But let me pause here. Harry's talking about the storms that have been hitting everywhere. Let's see what Richie has to say about himself. Then we'll move on to some other stuff.
But lots of people aren't. They're getting smoked. I've helped as many people as I possibly can. I've helped them so much that it's actually hurt me. But, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I've helped them so much, it's hurting me, but what are you going to do? What does that mean? For those of you that have been sending me money for 16 years, keep those money orders coming, keep that cash coming, and he'll probably do another GoFundMe here sooner or later. But that's just Richie's send me money, I need more gas money, I need... whatever, but let's pause here. What's another biggie going on with the Trump agenda, trying to lessen the power of the district courts? He's trying to get the Supreme Court to block. That fucking dude that they claim is MS-11, whatever it is. They deport him, and they're saying, they even admit we weren't supposed to. Anyway, this is another power struggle. This is another major power struggle, because it deals with the courts. And then, again, this major, completely new agenda, but that's another one to watch, or same one as last time. Pause here. I feel the necessity to address the pyramids of Egypt again, and how these fucking Egyptians did not build these without help. I don't get... look at the Grand Gallery, the King's Chamber where there was no body. The Grand Gallery's at a fucking angle. Those shafts that are so small that... I'll show the measurements. So small you can't crawl through. You have to... Excuse me, you do have to crawl through there. And they're air shafts, of course, but no... I got to get this. I got to show. I just love this shit. And the amazing that most people believe this, but let's pause here. Oh, and the Queen's Chamber, even though there wasn't they just got to make up shit, even though there's all sorts of governments that know what's going on. They'll never tell us, but let's pause here. Okay, I'm going to get into a little more about this. These are the measurements for the air shafts. Where's it at? Where it is? God dang. Oh, to the bottom. 7 by 8 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So who was belly crawling through there with little stone chisels or whatever fucking they were supposedly using for chisels and chiseling all this out of a pyramid? And I'll show you why. And I've brought this up before, and it's true. Not no guess on my part, but let's pause it. Okay, let's look at just a couple interior pictures of the pyramids. Okay, you see where the blocks were put together, right? You can see all the seams. What is so important here is that there's people that believe that they piled up all these stones and then got dug all these tunnels out. No, you could tell they were built like that. But what does that mean? You're going, what is it, 3000 BC or some horse shit? To when they built these things, or even if it was 2,000 years ago or what. But anyway, they did not stack all these stones and then go in there and dig out these tunnels and air shafts. These were built like this. They were engineered like this. They had blueprints when they built these things. And you're going to tell me they got all the stones right? They had their survey crews out there. Fucking utter nonsense. But let's pause here. Here's another bigger chamber. I don't know what the fuck it is, but they didn't fucking build one solid pyramid and go in and hand chisel all this shit out. Such bullshit. Let's not forget these ones. There's a couple of shafts that they somehow dug out by hand. Then we have all these boring holes and all this shit you can see in all sorts of pictures, and they give all these bullshit excuses on how they dig those circular boring holes and the saw cuts. There's a concrete boring tool. I don't know how they had electricity or air compressor to run it back then, but they did it. If you haven't seen it, there's a core that came out. You could tell, obviously, something round ran around the outside of the concrete to dig it out. Oh, I want to get to that. Those things they call obelisks there. I'm going to get that. There's another coring hole. Oh, they say they use copper pipes to do these things. Where'd they get the copper and where'd they get the factories to make them perfectly tubular copper pipes? So I Googled copper tubes found in Egypt, and that's the kind of horse shit you get. You gotta love it. Most people just believe this shit. Okay, this big obelisk, whatever the hell they call them. They want to say they dug these out. They used their primitive tools to dig around there, and then they used either some sort of metal saw or I'm going to say diamond string, something to, saw underneath. Well, give me a break. Those things aren't white. Those are regular steps there. There's barely room to try to pull anything back and forth down there. And as they were digging it out, did they have to stick rocks or 2x4s to keep it from falling? And then we get this stupid shit on the Egyptian slaves. And I have to show something else that's necessary if you want to stick with truth. I forgot what the hell I was going to look for. I couldn't find it in my screenshot, so I'm going to end this here. But again, retirees stunned, the government stunned. It's a side effect of the tariffs. Like, they didn't know this was going to happen. I think I'm going to end this here, so see you later. Bye.